Hi, George Markowski, Positive Property. Thank you so much for registering for our live training that's coming up soon. Below this video, I've got a link. Click the link, and that's the download for the Positive Property Blueprint, your workbook. Please click it now and download it, because we're going to need it for this training. I want to help you along your path to help you get a high growth, passive cash flow property portfolio. What I want for you more than anything in the world is to get you there quickly. And what we're going to do is let's rate you. Let's go inside and let's sit down and go through this so we can find out where you're at. Let's find out what's working, what's not working, what we need to work on. Thanks for coming in and joining me. Now, by now you would have downloaded your little workbook. Now, what I'm doing is I've got my Amazon bestseller here, and as you can see, we became #1 in 4 countries last year, which I'm very proud of. And you can see this photo, it's actually in front of my beach house right here. This is my office, quite a nice office. And later on this year, my office is actually going to be on a boat on the Galapagos Islands, because we're going to South America for 3 months, and we're going to be working from there. So the beauty of it is, when you've got a high growth, passive cash flow property portfolio, it really gives you the freedom that you need. Just tell a little bit about my story is, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. My parents actually struggled to make ends meet. So I knew if it was up to anyone, it was up to me. And when I first started, I made a lot of mistakes in property. I had 5 properties that were costing me a lot of money, and I had 2 options. One was give up property, and option 2, door number 2, was to figure this stuff out and make property in a really cool way. And fortunately, I made the multi-million-dollar decision. And actually it was 3 decisions, but the first decision was not to quit, because if you quit, you're guaranteed to lose. If you quit, you're never going to win, are you? So I decided I was going to be determined to really make this work. And the second thing I did is I decided to ignore everyone else out there giving property advice, because they were super hypey and they didn't have the runs on the board. They weren't actually genuine. They didn't have the experience. And thirdly, I found mentors that could hold my hand and showed me a tried and tested method. And I want to show you the shortcut to this, and that's the whole point of this. So what I'm doing, if you go into our live webinar, at the end of our webinar, I'm going to give you a link to get a free book of this. And if you come to a workshop, we're going to have some copies. Now, I've only got 500 of these. If you can see, there's limited edition, and they're all numbered, and they're all going to be signed by me. I've been working very hard with our team, and Christina's been giving me a lot of work to actually rewrite this book, and I've got a new edition coming out. So once these are gone, they're finished. They're limited edition. Make sure you get a copy, because the first 500 people, and that's it. Once they're out, they're out. We're not printing any more of these. Okay, what I'm going to do is I want to help you get a game plan, right? And the game plan is we're going to be working on the 3 major pillars: your strategy, your growth, and your cash flow. And what we're going to do is we're going to, like I said, we're going to traffic light it. We're going to find out what you're red, what you're orange, and what you're green in. We're going to find out what's working, what's not working, what we need to restructure from the ground up. What I want more for you than anything else in the world is I want to help you get a high growth, passive cash flow property portfolio. Because basically, when you've got that, when you've got a high growth, passive cash flow property portfolio, it gives you more money in your life, and it gives you more freedom, but not only that, it gives you more meaning. And what I mean by that is, it gives you the opportunity to do things that a lot of people don't get to do. Whether that's something very exciting like travel, do things like, one of the things that I did when I first retired was, my parents, they struggled to make ends meet, and they did the best they can to give me the best life that I could, even though, we didn't have a lot of money. What was pretty exciting is, after I retired and I had my 10 properties, I had a lot of cash with me, so I actually paid off my parents' house and also bought them a car and sent them on a holiday around Australia. It was very fortunate, and also I got to take my parents overseas back to Macedonia, to where they came from. My mother passed away a few years ago, but I got to spend some really quality time with her and do some great fun stuff. And if I didn't have the money, the freedom, then that meaning I wouldn't have had, because I'd be working too hard like I was before, 7 days a week, not having enough time to spend time with the people that you love. You know, if you're going to do this, you don't have to do it for the money. Do it for your family. Do it for the people you love. Do it for the more meaning you can. Do it for whatever reason you want to, but you really need to do this. It's very important. These are the 3 major areas we're going to be working. Now, the thing is, if you don't have cash flow, you end up with no money. You get a property that's costing you $200-300 a week, like there are in a lot of areas, then you end up with no cash flow, and it makes it very hard. See, the old days of paying off your mortgage and paying every cent and working really hard doesn't work anymore. We can work smarter and not harder. That's what I want to teach you. Now, with the growth area, If we don't have high growth areas and we buy in the wrong area, what's going to happen? You're going to have no capital growth. So there's no point of having cash flow, making 10, 20, 30, $100 a week if you're not making capital growth. That's what the real money is. And at the end of the day, the overall strategy, having a winning strategy is very important. If we don't have that, we're going to end up retiring dead broke like 98% of Australians do. Now we want to avoid that. So what I want to do now is I want to go through and show you exactly each step, and let's get your worksheet out, get a red pencil, red pen, or you can put a little tick if you need to, but let's work out where you are. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we're going to start strategy. First part of strategy, the number one tier now is tried and tested. Right? This is where vision meets strategy. Tried and tested means to be green, what you need to do is you need to, one, have a mentor that's got results in the area that you're looking in already. So if you're looking at investing in property, you need a mentor that's successful at property and someone that's done it already. They need to have a system that's tried and tested, that's been proven to work. If you've got that, you're green, you're good to go. That's excellent. That's number one. Number two, protect your empire. There's no point building an empire if you can't protect it. So what I'm going to do is most people on this probably don't have a mentor. So I'm going to colour that as a red. But you colour it whatever you are. Now, what we're doing is we're looking at the way it is, not the way you want it to be. Because we really need to know where you are, because if you know where you are, then we know how to get you where you need to get. Protect your empire. If you've got a circle of safety, and the circle of safety, that means you've got a financial planner, finance advisor, a property mentor / coach. You've got someone that does your insurance. You've got a lawyer / conveyancer. You've got a building inspector. So you need a whole team of people. They know your strategy. They communicate with each other. Now that's a green. If you've got a few of these people, and maybe you've got a bank manager, broker, accountant, a few other things like that, then you're an orange. And basically, if you don't have a team of professionals behind you, you're a red. Most people have got a few people, and I would say this is an orange. Market ready. Okay, so with the market the way it's moving at the moment, and high growth, high cash flow property is very hard to find. When you find it, you really need to be ready to rock and roll straight away. Market ready means that you've got a team of advisors, you've got your finances sorted out, and you've looked forward to the next 3, 4, 5 properties or whatever you got with. Then if that's the case, you're green. If you're pre-approved for your next property, you know where you're at, you're an orange. And if you don't know what you can borrow, what you can't borrow, then you're red. I'd say a lot of people are orange on this one. So I'm going to do that orange. The property clock. So the first pillar of high growth property is the property clock. And basically understanding and timing the market and taking advantage of regular cycles. So if you understand the property clock and know how that works, and if you know how to do your research on the 16,000 suburbs around Australia, and you've got all the 40 different areas or sort of data sets that you need to look at in these things, and you know the formula to do this, or you're paying for it, because there's lots of companies in Australia you can pay to do this for you. And I probably spend 30, 40,000 a year just on data and information and mentors and property. But it's great because I get to share it with you guys as well. And that's part of the reason of the program. So if you've got all that data and you know how to interpret it, and you know the property clock, you take advantage of regular cycles, then you're a green. If you know the property clock and you know what you're doing, then you're an orange. If you look at a property magazine for advice, you're a red. So I would say most people don't know about the timing. They don't know how to get a good property, so most people are red. But you put the colour that you've got on. Research. If you've got the right research of the 16,000 suburbs, you know exactly what to buy, how to buy, and everything else like that. So for example, in part of your research, what I do is I like to ring probably 2 or 3 property managers in the area that I'm looking at buying in to get their take on what's going to rent out. Because there's no use talking to property agents, because property agents, what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell you the stock they can't get rid of. They're not going to try to sell you the good stuff. A property manager, see, they've got a different motive. They want to rent that place out. So they're motivated to help you find the right property. So it's one of my little tricks of calling a property manager and finding out from them what's going to rent out in the area. So once you've done all your research on your property clock, then we want to find out what do we want to buy. Do we want to buy a 3-bedroom townhouse? Do we want to buy a 4-bedroom house and land? Do we need more land, less land? Different areas are different. And obviously supply and demand is very important. And you need to know the supply and demand ratio. And supply and demand ratio is basically, is there more supply or more demand for the property? Very, very important, because that's where a lot of people fall down. And that's why I've been telling people for years not to buy units in the CBD, because there's too much supply. So what happens is, let's say they build a tower of 100 units. Well, once that sells out, they can go next door and build another tower, and they can keep going. But if you go to a suburb 5 to 10, 15 k's out of the city that's tightly held, and there's not a lot of land, and there's no units there, well, guess what? You've got a lot more demand than supply, a lot less supply, so it's very, very important. So if you understand the research, understand the demand-supply ratio, then you're a green. If you've got a bit of an idea, you're an orange. And if you don't use any scientific way of finding out your property, you don't call property managers and due diligence, then you're a red. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to do that in orange as well, because that's what most people are. Due diligence. Okay. So if you've got a calculator that you can go through, a spreadsheet that you can put all the numbers in, and it spits out a number at the end, so you know, are you positive, are you negative? It's a definitive number and very conservative number that puts all the equations into place. Then you're a green. A lot of people have this, which is great, and you can buy these online, but you've got to get the right one and know how to use it. That's the important thing. But they're like $500-$600 to buy one. Now, if you don't use a calculator, you've got a spreadsheet, you've got a pretty good idea, you're an orange, and if you don't know the numbers up front, then you're crazy, you shouldn't be buying, you're a red. But I'd say a lot of people buy these and they're a green, so I'll just call you a green on that. RMR, Rapid Mortgage Reduction. So if you've got a loan that's principal interest, and it's a 25-year loan, then you're a red. If you know how to use an offset account, and you're interest only, and you've got a credit card, and you're using rapid mortgage reduction, and you understand the principles, and you cut your mortgage in half, then you're an orange. And if you cut your mortgage in half and you're using properties to prop that up and pay it off even sooner, then you're a green. And I'd say a lot of people on this are probably an orange as well. If you get your tax back on a weekly basis, where you're losing money on paper, but not necessarily losing it in real life, you're a green. If you're getting your tax back at the end of the year from your property, you're an orange. And if you're not getting tax back, you're a red. So I'd say most people get it back at the end of the year. That's an orange. Leverage, the 5 times return. So if you're getting 5 times the return on your property investments by using equity, so if you're using your equity from your house and you're buying property, it's leverage and it's less than $30 a week, you're a green. If you're using leverage and it's not $30 a week, but you're leveraging your money, you're an orange. And if you're not leveraging your money, you're saving up and trying to crazily pay off your mortgage with cash and pay off your investment properties, doing hard work the old way, then you're a red. And a lot of people are doing this the wrong way and they're red, so I'm going to put red there. Okay, so how did you go? This is going to become very, very handy. Please bring this with you to the training, because what we're going to do is we're going to go through it. The greens, you're all good. Orange, we need a few tweaks. Red, oops, we need a lot of work. We might have to restructure things and really get things happening. But what I really want to do during this training is I want to get you from those oranges and red to green really quickly, so it can help you get a high growth, passive cash flow property portfolio, so you can live the lifestyle that you want, so you get more money, more freedom, and more lifestyle. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really look forward to seeing you and meeting you. Remember, I'm giving away my book, and even though it's my book, I really think it's very useful, and this is going to come in handy, and I want to give as much information out there as possible. My goal is to create 500 property millionaires. And what I mean by that is not $1 million in equity, but 500 property millionaires I mean by people that have got enough properties where they don't have to get out of bed to work. So for example, a lot of our people in our program, they want 10 properties in 10 years. 10 properties in 10 years, that's actually going to give you $180,000 passive income. And that's what I did when I was 37, and I was getting $180,000 without getting out of bed, and I thought that was good. Now other people, they think 5 properties and $90,000 a year is fine. So if that's good for you, that's good for you. So whatever your target is, that's what it means to you to be a property millionaire. But I want to create more freedom and make the world a better place. Look forward to this training. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to bring my A game. I'm really going to give you as much as I can. It's going to be great. See you there. Thank you. Bye-bye.